Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Pacers Daily. I am your host, Hery Acosta. Happy Thursday. Here with a new video. Like and subscribe. You know I do these every Monday through Friday. If you want more content, just hit that like button. And here we go. First things first, I saw a comment on a few videos ago talking about James Johnson as a potential assistant coach. I absolutely love that idea just because he's already kind of like a player coach already at this point. Now, he gets paid like a player. So he's making at least $1 million a year. But him as an assistant coach in the future would be a very fitting job for him just because all the young guys listen to him. He is a vocal leader in that locker room. He always has his players' backs. Now it's a little different. Him as a coach, he's not really going to be the enforcer because you don't really want your coach to just be on the court just to fight someone. Now he will still be that intimidating threat in that, like, if there's a skirmish, the coaches can all jump in and separate it. So they see him, yeah, it's not going to be a skirmish anymore. So that is a good thing. So we'll go with that. But just him being a leader, him being in the NBA as long as he has been, one of the oldest players in the league right now, still racking up contracts, been around the league, been around many teams, had some of his best seasons on teams like Miami and Minnesota, but on the Pacers, he has made his contributions. He is fun to watch play. If we're up by a lot and he comes in, we already know it's gonna be a fun 2-3 minutes. He played in the finals. He's got more finals minutes than Embiid has Eastern Conference Finals minutes. So, there's that. There's always something. But yeah, if he retires anytime in the future, he has a spot on that Pacers coaching. So, all right, it's time of the video to talk about free agency and just who's still available. Now I'm going to talk about one that I've talked about before, just because this is a weird one. Now, Malik Beasley should be on an NBA roster, and there's no doubt about that. Now, everything with that whole gambling investigation is one thing. Whether if he's guilty, then Adam Silver will most likely ban him from the league or suspend him or anything like that. But at the moment, it's looking like he's innocent and that there's really no active investigation going. But there's still no deal with any team on Beasley's side. And the Pistons were going to offer him a nice contract before everything came out. And obviously that shut down any contract rumors as soon as that whole investigation started. But now that the investigation's kind of dying down, I think the Pacers should make a move. Now, he's not a minimum player, so he's gonna have a decent contract. But we need someone off the bench that can just come in and light it up from three. Because outside of the 3-point line, Beasley doesn't have too many other strengths. He's a great 3-point shooter. He's kind of just like a Duncan Robinson. Or really a Gary Trent Jr. that goes in, shoots threes, and lights up the game from back there. So, sign him, get some shooting off that bench. He was one of the best 6 men in the league last year. Was playing very good for Detroit. One of the reasons that they made the playoffs in the first place was his play off the bench. And then every now and then would be in the starting lineup with those injuries to Jaden Ivey. And every time they had injuries, he was there. He was stepping up. And probably some of his best ball that he's played in his career was with the Pistons. All right, now we're going to talk about the two new guys. Well, I guess Wiseman wouldn't be considered a new guy, but he's only ever played one game with the Pacers. So, to this extent, he's a new guy. But J. Huff is 100% the new guy because he never suited up for us. But he's already attending fever games with Halliburton, going out to anything indie related, just trying to get familiar with the city, doing everything that he can to fit in with his team. And that's already amazing. Now, the expectations for Huff are a little different than what they would be for someone like Isaiah Jackson or James Wiseman. He's got more Miles Turner expectations. Now, it's not as severe, it's not as high as if we still had Turner and what his expectations would be. But Huff is a player that you would want to see if he's starting. If he's starting, you want to see him at least get between 10 and 15 points a game. Now we know he's kind of like Turner. He kind of spreads the floor a little bit more, so he's not really in the paint in defense unless he's, you know, unless they're playing another traditional like a traditional center, and he can just block that shot. So block wise, if he's starting 1.5 to 2.5 blocks a game, just because he's capable of doing that, he's a great shot blocker. Rebounding between 7 and 9, just because we have other rebounders on the court. Anyone is a good rebounder in the position. And then just a 3-point threat because he is a good 3-point shooter. One of the best reverse dunkers I've ever seen. It's just very, very random skill that he has. He's just a very good reverse dunker. And just someone who you know you can do pick and rolls with and more of like a fade. Instead of going in the paint, picks, goes outside, shoots a three. You know, Turner used to do that a lot. And then last but not least, the new guy on the team, but not really, Wiseman. Wiseman's got, for me, I have a lot of expectations for Wiseman just because he was a second overall pick in a stacked draft class. I mean, he's on the team with 3 players that he was drafted before that have all so far had more successful careers than him. Now, Wiseman has won a championship. We'll give him that, but he didn't actually play that season at all. Now, Wiseman, I got more expectations of him as a traditional center, you know, grabbing more rebounds, getting more points in the paint. He's trying to develop a 3-point shot, which is great. And just my biggest expectation for Wiseman is to stay healthy, because that has been his absolute worst quality since he's entered the NBA. Because there's no doubt that the talent is there. There's no doubt that he can have a decent career. He's still young. He was one of the youngest players in that draft. And he barely played in college. He played 3 games at Memphis before everyone was like, oh yeah, he's going to be the second pick. He's going to be the third pick or whatever. He was projected to go anywhere in the top 5 picks. Obviously, Golden State needed a center at that time. Picked him over LaMelo Ball. Picked him over Tyrese. Picked him over Obi Toppin. Over Nesmith. Just over a lot of really good players. And then they just ended up realizing that he just can't be on the court. Had that stint in Detroit. He's now here. Tore his Achilles last year. Should be back by the beginning of the season. So just hoping that he can actually stay on the court, because when he's on the court, he makes an impact. But we just can't have another Greg Oden on our team, or just someone who can only produce when he's on the court, because he's also a very quiet guy off the court. So he's not the vocal leader that we have on a lot of players, but he needs to be on the court if he wants to succeed, because a lot of people have said it. The best ability is availability, and Wiseman to this point has not shown that he has availability. So he's gonna need to step that up, and hopefully he can stay healthy this year. Now, as always, I'm your host, Hery Acosta. This is Pacers Daily. Boom, baby, and go Sirs.